Hello students, welcome back to our geography session. Today we shall continue with our second lesson, the sun, the moon and the earth. Before we proceed ahead, let us recall what we had studied in the previous lecture. In the last lecture, we studied the motions of the moon. First is the axial motion. When the moon rotates on its own axis, it is known as the axial motion. Next is the orbital motion. The moon, while moving around its axis, also revolves, means moves around the earth, which is known as its orbital motion. So studied the positions of the moon. First, perigee position. We saw that when the moon is close to the earth, it is known as the perigee position. Second, apogee position. When the moon is far away from the earth, it is known as the apogee position. So in today's lecture, we shall study phases of the moon. Students, have you ever observed the sky? Yes. What do you see in the sky? We find the sun, the moon and innumerable stars. So today, let us concentrate on the moon. Now tell me students, have you seen only one side of the moon? No. If we observe carefully, we will notice that there is a change in the size of the moon. It either increases or decreases. So today we are going to study the changing size of the moon, that is phases of the moon. I'll explain this in detail. The earth has only one satellite and that is the moon. We all know children that the earth revolves around the sun and it takes 1 year to complete its revolution around the sun. The moon also revolves around the earth and it takes 1 month to complete its revolution around the earth. The moon does not have any light like the sun. The moon reflects the sunlight that falls on it. When we look at the moon from the earth, we notice that the shape of the moon changes. These different shapes of the moon are known as the phases of the moon. As the moon revolves around the earth, its phases changes. It waxes from the new moon day to the full moon day. Waxes means the moon becomes bigger in size. Its size increases. Now students, what do you mean by the full moon day and new moon day? We had already studied these concepts in the previous classes, but let's review them. Full moon day. On a full moon day, the sun's light falls on the whole moon. The moon appears to us as a full circle. It is also known as Purnima. Next is new moon day. On a new moon day, the sun's light does not fall on the moon. That means the moon appears to be dark. We are not able to see the moon at all. It is also known as Amavasya. Now let's see the waning moon. The moon wanes. Wanes means the size of the moon decreases from the full moon to the new moon day. Children, now let us observe this diagram which shows the waxing and waning phase of the moon. In this diagram, children, can you see that the sunlight is coming from the right? The earth is at the center and the moon is shown at 8 stages or phases. The moon undergoes 8 phases. They are as follows. First one, new moon. Second, waxing crescent moon. Third, first quarter moon. Fourth, waxing gibbous moon. Fifth, full moon. Sixth, waning gibbous moon. Seventh, third quarter moon. Eighth, waning crescent moon. And again, the lunar cycle starts with the new moon. Let us study the first phase, new moon. During a new moon, the moon is between the earth and the sun. The part of the moon that faces the sun gets sunlight. A new moon cannot be seen from the earth since only the dark side of the moon faces the earth. Second phase, waxing crescent moon. Waxing means when the size of the moon increases, and crescent means where we can see the curved shape of the moon. When we observe a thin layer of the moon from the earth, it is known as the waxing crescent moon. The moon looks like a crescent, and this crescent moon increases in size from one day to the next. First quarter moon can be defined as the movement of the moon when the moon reaches to its orbit. Orbit means path around the earth. We also call it the half moon, as we can see only half part of the moon illuminated by the sun. Waxing gibbous moon. Waxing means when the size of the moon increases, and gibbous means when the illuminated means bright part of the moon is greater than a semicircle and less than a circle. This phase occurs when more than half lit up part of the moon can be seen, and this shape increases in size from one day to the next. Full moon. We can see the full moon when the sun and the moon are in a straight line at the opposite side of the earth. Here we can see the entire portion of the moon. Waning gibbous moon means when we can see more than half portion of the moon, and here the shape of the moon decreases in size. Third quarter moon means when half part of the moon is visible to us. Here the opposite half portion of the moon is illuminated. Next phase is the waning crescent moon. Here the moon looks like a crescent, means it looks like a curve, but this crescent moon decreases in size from one day to the next. Now let's test your brain power. Think about it. Children, for this question you have to refer to the diagram. This diagram shows the position of the moon as seen from the space and as seen from the earth. How will you identify which are which? Now the answer to this question is half of the moon's portion is illuminated by the sun and the other half remains dark. So only some part of this illuminated portion of the moon can be seen from the earth. Now children, let's observe the next diagram. In this diagram, we can see the different phases of the moon from the earth. They are the illuminated, means the bright part of the moon. We can see them due to the sunlight reflected from the moon. Students, we all know that the moon revolves around the earth. So, on a full moon day, the moon is on the opposite side of the sun. Can you see in the diagram? Now, once again you refer to the diagram. Whereas, on a new moon day, the moon lies between the sun and the earth. On the first and the third quarter days, the moon, the earth and the sun make an angle of 90 degrees. Please refer to the diagram once again. We can see the half bright part of the moon. That means the moon appears to us semicircular in shape. Thank you students. So with this we have completed the topic phases of the moon, and in our next lecture we shall study an interesting topic about the eclipse and the types of eclipse.